Come along with me this week as I redesign this really pretty, tall Stanley chest of drawers. This vintage piece was picked up at a local thrift store. It's not solid wood, but it's still really quality construction. You can tell that it's well made, it's very, very heavy, and it's one of those perfect candidates for a really nice makeover. I've really been getting the itch to do something a little bit different. I've been doing a lot of greens, a lot of beiges, a lot of wood tones. I want to go a little outside of my comfort zone with this one. I'm gonna do a dark espresso brown color. I think it's gonna be really, really pretty. I've been wanting to do that really moody brown, almost black color. I think it can be really sophisticated and really dress up a piece. I'm gonna do new hardware. Each one of these is gonna get replaced with a knob. I want to keep it simple. I want to keep it timeless. So I'm gonna do knobs, 2 on each of the long drawers, 1 on each of the smaller drawers. And I think it's gonna be really pretty in the end. It's gonna be an easier transformation, but I think this piece can be modernized and really look really quite sharp. Using a Bondo-like product, I'm going to fill in some of the hardware holes. I will leave some of them still open for the knobs on the long dresser drawers, but for the shorter ones, I will fill both of the holes. This stuff does dry really quickly, so you do have to work fast and in small batches. I think I'm gonna leave the outside holes on each one of these for the new hardware. So I'm just gonna fill the inside hole on each one of these sides. And this will probably take 2 coats. Now that that first coat of Bondo has been sanded smooth, I'm gonna take just a lighter weight wood filler and fill in any little pockets. Usually there's like an air bubble, or it really just doesn't do a great job filling on the first go around. But this second fill will just smooth everything over and completely fill in where the old holes used to be. Now that the surface level filler has dried, I can sand it off and I can wipe everything down and get it ready for primer and paint. Now that I have everything all sanded, I can go ahead and wipe off all the sanding dust, make sure everything is dust free for the primer. Like 99% of my other pieces that I refinish, I'm going to be using bin shellac primer and straining it into my spray gun. This primer has great adhesion and stain blocking properties. It's also very sandable. It doesn't gum up your sandpaper if you need to smooth it out. It's really a great primer. The only thing is it is very stinky because it's shellac based, and the cleanup process involves either ammonia in water or denatured alcohol in water. But as long as you have either one of those things, it's not too bad to clean up. It's the next day and the primer has fully cured. I now can take a high grit sandpaper just wrapped around a sanding sponge, and I'm gonna lightly hand sand all of the painted areas just to make sure that they're nice and smooth. That way the paint has a really smooth surface to go over. I'm gonna be using this Behr urethane alkyd enamel. It's a really good durable paint. Again, I'm going to be using that Espresso bean. It's a really pretty dark brown with not a whole lot of overly warm tones. And I'm going to filter that in my spray gun. This paint is on the thicker side, so I am going to take some water and water it down just a little bit so that it's a little bit of a runnier consistency and will spray nicely through my sprayer. The recoat time on this particular paint is 4 to 8 hours. Now that's going to vary a lot depending on your climate, how humid it is, if it's rainy, if it's muggy, if it's really hot. But once it has cured enough, I'm going to take a really high grit sandpaper. This is 400. And I'm just going to really lightly go over the entire painted piece. Again, just to knock down any little dust bunnies that might have landed in the paint, really smooth it out to prep it for that last coat of paint. It's the next morning. I let everything cure overnight. before putting the dresser drawers back in, before putting everything all together. I still have to do the knobs. I want to line the drawers. It's going to be a really nice piece when it's all said and done. I do find that this brand of paint does take a little bit longer to dry, opposed to the Benjamin Moore command line that I'm used to using, but it's just as hard, just as durable. You just need to have a little bit of patience with it. There's only 2 drawers that actually need holes drilled in currently. All the rest of the drawers I left 2 holes in so that I could install the knobs. I'm going to show you a slightly different way of finding the center point. You can measure like I normally do, but you can also take a straight edge and go corner to corner. And where these lines intersect is going to be the middle of the drawer. I don't always do this just because it's a lot of extra surfaces touching the freshly painted piece, but as long as you're gentle, it's a really good technique as well. I picked up some of these aged brass hardware. They're just simple knobs, but they have little fluted details all along the edges that are really pretty. It's hard to photograph, but in the video it should show up really nicely. It's just a subtle detail that really elevates a piece like this. I wanted to go something that's going to be a little tone on tone. That's why I went with the aged brass. And I think having so many of them on the dresser too, they're a simple design. That way you can get away with a good number of them on the piece. I have some of this print left over from another project, and I think it'll go really nicely, the pale blues and the cool tones with this nice dark brown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out each drawer and then cut my paper to the appropriate size and line the drawers. I like to cut the paper oversized so that I have material that I can take off with a razor blade or X-Acto knife after I get the drawer lined. And this piece is all finished. I think it's a really elegant piece. The dark color really grounds it. It's a piece that can really go in a room and hold its own. I think it will be timeless. A really, really good, pretty addition. It can fit many styles. I really like this one. Let me know what you think about the dark brown color. I know it might not be for everyone, but I think it turned out really pretty. Please subscribe and like and comment down below. Thanks so much.